In Kazan, Russia, the BRICS Summit is happening. Russia, with its leader facing international heat, decides to host a global gathering just to remind everyone they're not out of the game. Putin welcomes leaders like China's Xi Jinping and India's Narendra Modi as if to say, sanctions? What sanctions? This summit, with over 20 heads of state, seems like Russia's big move to prove they're still standing tall, despite everything. Russia is saying, look, we can still throw a party, and everyone shows up. Meanwhile, Russia has its hands full with the Ukraine war and an arrest warrant looming over Putin's head, courtesy of an international criminal court. But what better way to brush that off than hosting a summit where BRICS nations talk about throwing the US dollar out the window? Yes, the big idea is to ditch the dollar and trade, and it's as bold as it sounds. You can almost hear them saying, why deal with dollars when we can create our own rules? The stakes feel high, but the humor isn't lost when you think about Russia trying to act like it's business as usual. As the talks heat up, leaders like Iran's Masoud Pezeshkian join in, making the summit feel even more like a suspenseful drama. BRICS, once just an economic club, now seems to be turning into something much bigger. Are they really building to counter-group to the West? We're watching a reality show where the underdogs start forming alliances, and suddenly, everyone's wondering if the main players are about to lose their grip. What deals are being made behind closed doors? More importantly, how much will this actually change the balance of things? As these leaders discuss trade, cooperation, and alternatives to the West systems, the whole event has an air of anticipation. Everyone's on the edge of their seat, waiting for that big twist. Are they really going to stand up to the West? Or is this all just smoke and mirrors? You have to wonder if, at the end of all this, the headlines will scream about a new era or just quietly shrug. Well, we'll let you know everything you need to know, and what to expect from the BRICS Summit 2024. Just sit back and watch. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. The 2024 BRICS Summit, running from October 22nd to 24th in Kazan, Russia, comes at a pretty chill time for Russia. If you call being knee-deep in sanctions, global criticism, and an arrest warrant for Putin chill. With all this going on, the summit is Russia's way of saying, hey, look, we're still in the game. BRICS started with Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And they've been slowly pulling in more buddies to push back against Western control of the economy. This year's meeting is packed, with over 20 leaders showing up, including Xi Jinping from China, Narendra Modi from India, and Masoud Pezeshkian from Iran. It's like a global get-together to show that BRICS isn't just a fan club anymore. It's a growing crew challenging groups like the G7 and calling for more even power distribution across regions. Fair is fair, right? The topics on the table aren't light either. Russia, being the boss of the summit this time, is focusing on political stuff, economic teamwork, and cultural exchanges. But the star of the show is de-dollarization, a way of saying, we're done with the US dollar running the show. BRICS Summit focused on new systems so members can trade without leaning on the West. And here's where things get interesting. BRICS Pay. Think of it as a way for BRICS countries and their pals to pass financial info without needing Western payment systems. So they're saying, we'll handle it ourselves. Thanks. The whole plan is to reduce how much BRICS nations get hit by Western sanctions and show that they can run their economies just fine. Russia is basically telling the West, you can shut us out all you want. We're still here. And we brought snacks. The 2024 BRICS Summit will focus on adding new members. In August, 6 countries, including Saudi Arabia and Iran, joined the group, showing a push to expand influence across the Middle East and other regions. This shift moves BRICS from being just an economic club to a broader political alliance. Russia, already close with Iran, sees this as a chance for both nations to gain strength as they resist Western sanctions and political pressure. For China, BRICS offers a way to push its idea to a fairer global system. President Xi Jinping's visit shows China's full support for Russia and BRICS. As the second biggest economy, China uses this group to push projects like the Belt and Road Initiative, which builds trade links and boosts business with other regions. Xi's presence also signals that China wants to keep working with Russia, even though tensions remain high due to the conflict in Ukraine. India plays an interesting role in BRICS. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government carefully balances its work with BRICS and its ties with countries like the US. India uses BRICS to grow its trade with other fast-growing economies, while staying independent. The group also helps India boost business with Africa, Latin America, and Asia. Through BRICS, India pushes cooperation in areas like payments, green energy, and tech development, helping it expand its role in global trade. The Kazan Summit isn't just about business and politics, it also highlights cultural exchanges and social projects. BRICS supports student programs, youth events, and cultural activities to strengthen bonds. As the host, Russia is using the event to showcase its culture and build friendships with other members. These efforts are aimed at building lasting connections that go beyond trade and policies, keeping the group united over time. The BRICS Summit is a chance for these leaders to talk about big problems like climate change, health, and food supply. These countries, with lots of people and resources, have a big part to play in handling climate issues. At the summit, they'll probably chat about working together on clean energy, keeping nature safe, and making sure their economies grow without messing up the planet. After all, saving the planet isn't just a hobby, it's in everyone's best interest. And hey, those climate agreements like the Paris one aren't going to meet themselves. Health is another hot topic, especially after COVID-19 reminded everyone that viruses don't need visas. BRICS countries have been teaming up on healthcare, swapping ideas, and figuring out how to be better prepared for future outbreaks. Leaders might also talk about making vaccines and medicine easier to get, and pooling efforts in health research. You'd think with all that brainpower they'd solve health problems faster. But at least if they share enough, it might save a trip to Dr. Google next time. Then there's security. I'm sure there'll be comments like, let's talk about the mess in Ukraine and the Middle East. BRICS countries try not to pick sides, preferring friendly chats to bombs and bullets. Russia might use the summit to gather some backup from its BRICS buddies. But let's be honest, China and India are probably thinking, support you? Sure, just don't ask for too much. Whatever happens, the rest of the world will be watching like it's the season finale of a political drama. Well, this summit is just another meeting where these countries try to show they can solve problems together. It's like a group project. If they pull it off, great. If not, well, at least they'll have some good excuses ready. Maybe they'll save the planet, improve healthcare, and stop wars. Or maybe they'll just enjoy the coffee breaks. Either way, it's worth the coffee. In conclusion, the 2024 BRICS Summit in Kazan gives Russia a chance to show it can still play with the big kids. With sanctions weighing it down and many countries shutting it out, Russia is using this meeting to build new friendships and strengthen ties with rising economies. They'll talk about cutting back on the dollar, adding new members, and working together on culture, aid, and security. It's clear that Russia wants more power in their hands and hopes to tilt the system in their favor. But the bigger the ambitions, the bigger the risks. And as the saying goes, the higher the rise, the harder the fall.